I'm back. How y'all doing? Before I get into the content of this video, carrying out the Recision thing, just to give people a heads up what some people are doing out there. And insane. There's a gentleman here in Ontario, for example, who's suggesting people deregister the car. Good luck with that. That they don't put insurance on the car, that they don't have a driver's license or any of that stuff or any license plate. I guarantee you, anybody that partakes in that is going to find themselves in one heck of a legal situation. And the fact they already have this resistant attitude going into this, they're probably going to dig themselves a deeper hole when they get into the legal system, court system on this kind of nonsense. Don't listen to that stuff. You're going to get yourself in serious, serious trouble, legally speaking. Now, it's not to say you can't get around that with the birth certificate. Remember, it's whoever owns has got to provide the insurance, right? So it's not just a case of not putting insurance on the car. It's knowing who the owner is that should be providing the insurance on the car, and that you don't have to provide any of that. Anyhow, if you're interested in the Recision thing, these videos, you should watch all of the Recision videos in the playlist by that name at our YouTube channel. So you have a fuller context what this Recision thing is about. In other words, don't go by just everything you hear in this particular video. There's a series of videos on the subject, and they should all be listened to, and so you have the full context. And before I get into it here, I have to lay a foundation. The governments have jurisdiction over the person named on the birth certificate that is not evidence of your identity. The judge is the father of the country, and the person named on the birth certificate, the fictional son, daughter, child, whatever. They got jurisdiction over you when you presented the birth certificate as evidence of your identity, attaching yourself to that registered legal name recognized in their law. It is important to note the government does not register people when it registers births, but when you identify by that registered name, it is if you are registered, and bang, they got you. And you probably got your children well on the way to doing the same thing you did. Anyhow, all of this can be overcome because of the concealment of the material facts. So there's that evidence. There's also the lack of the evidence that I've talked about in the previous videos here on this, again, on this subject. The purpose of the concept of the Recision is to undo that stuff as if it never happened, sort of thing. To get back to your original standing status, man or woman, not in Wonderland, not in legal land, and to convert the issuer of the birth certificate to the trustee. It is important to note here that the government compels the registration of births, so any trust created or transfer of title/ownership was not done voluntarily. That fact recreates what's called a reverse onus sort of thing here. So there's more to that, but you're going to have to get our information pack to have those details. I can't put everything here in the public. I won't put everything here in the public. There's other reasons you hear in a moment here. Now, there is an obligation, there's no legal obligation, legal or otherwise, to use a registered name like John Paul Smith. No law, not here in Canada or the United States that I know of, not here in Canada for sure, no law prohibits the use of any name a man may choose, so long as it's not for fraudulent or nefarious purposes. What we are doing with the Recision thing is far from fraudulent or nefarious purposes. Quite the contrary. But this is not about revenge for us here, but to forgive, forget, and move on. Get on with your life. However, it may be prudent from time to time, with the proper understanding of the principles here in play, back of it, to pick a name that does not look or sound like the registered name, the one recognized in their law. Remember, it's not how the name looks. It's not if it's all capital letters or upper lowercase nonsense, all that stupid stuff, but how the name sounds. It's how it sounds. If somebody goes into court, they don't, they call so-and-so to courtroom number 3, so-and-so to courtroom number 3, so-and-so to courtroom number 3. When you're in, then they ask for the name. So it's not nothing how it looks on the paper. Trust me, if it's on the paper in their system, it's a registered name. But it's not how it looks. It's how it sounds. Now, given that the birth certificate is not evidence of the holder's or the bearer's identity, and the issuer of the birth certificate knows that, and they don't register people, they register events, and they know that, and the holder of the birth certificate can use any name he chooses, clearly that means one thing. The birth certificate has some other purpose than what we've used it for, and or represents something. Remember, they took your legal owner, they took your legal title, your ownership of property, and they registered the births. Some people will say you weren't compensated for that. Well, listen up here. And again, I'm not going to go into real big, deep details, or I can't. Now, this requires further explanation, and I will not say here because a bunch of people will, by experience it happened, bombard government offices with their lack of knowledge of the bigger picture interpretation, what I mean when I say in these videos. We do have regular Zoom meetings to go over these things, and you're welcome to participate, but you have to have our information pack to do that. You got to have the information. We're just not going to talk blindly, and we don't have time to spend thousands of hours to bring everybody up to speed. Not going to happen. So that's what the information pack is to help you with. You know, when we sat down with the Deputy Registrar General back in 2004, she said the birth certificate is not, and it's never intended to be personal identification. It evolved. And she also went on to say it's a valuable token. Some of you may have heard that before. It's a valuable token. So when I heard that, I slid the birth certificate I had at the time. I slid that across the table to Judy, the then Deputy Registrar General, and she said, but not in her hands. So it's not a valuable token in her hands. That'd be in my hands, right? I got it. So to offer up a perspective here, what is meant by token in the context of the message in these Recision videos. Now listen up. Think about a bus token. It's not the money, but it acts like money. It's also evidence of prepayment. It's evidence of prepayment. Now, every now and again, I hear people claiming they use the beneficiary. If you do not want the liability, then you cannot have the benefit. I said the birth certificate is evidence of the holder's interest, not identity. And furthermore, as you all ought to know by now, there's no man or woman, no substance in the legal system. So how the heck is it you can be a beneficiary? And you're going around claiming to be a beneficiary, you're saying into that registered name, you're shooting yourself in the foot with the nonsense, lack of knowledge. And I'm not saying you will not receive an exchange, just not as a beneficiary. You are the owner of the legal title, but the government took that via registration of births. It was not a voluntary transfer. The birth certificate in your hands is a security, and keep that prepayment thing in mind. It is the truth that sets one free, so let the truth speak and stand firmly on it. Doesn't require explanation. You got to start explaining it, then you're not there yet. Anyhow, you do not have to take part in commercial activity to survive. That's a big one. Say what? All I know is, what do you mean? I got to get a job. I got to do this. I got to be a taxpayer. I got to get. No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to participate in commercial activity. Commerce is warfare. Everyone's fighting for the money. Profit, right? Anyhow, you want the complete picture. You want to join our Zoom meetings. You will have to get our information package. And every video in the description area has a link to our blog. You can go there, read what's there. Make sure you read it. I took the time to put it there. It's amazing how many people don't read what's in front of their face. It just stuns me sometimes. But anyhow, and you request additional information on the package or packages. And I believe that's it. That's all I had to say here today, keeping it short and sweet. Just let me double check my notes and I'll get right back to you. Thanks. That's it. Hopefully I'm done. I mean, hopefully I'm really done. And we'll be back here in a couple of minutes. But yeah, so I'm done. God bless you. Love you. Light of God never fails. Not possible. And keep smiling. Summer's on the way. Yesterday was a stellar day here. Love you. Ciao for now.